Hey there, everybody, PTPOP here, with all 4 lobes in my brain securely bound behind my back. And today, I'm going to be discussing a call center that we haven't talked about. 911. Stay tuned.
Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that?
So, there's a video I found on here of people working in a 911 call center. This is a video of what it's like to work in a call center in Waterloo, Canada. Never really thought about what it would be like to work in a call center, a 911 call center, 911 or emergency call center, until my wife recently got sick and I had to call 911 a couple different times. And I recently had these experiences with my wife, who's recently been diagnosed with epilepsy, just out of the blue, age 50, 51. She's got epilepsy. So one morning I'm in the bedroom and I hear this like scream come from our master bath. And I run in there and she's on the floor, face down, with her head kind of wedged between the wall and the toilet, and she's just like shaking and frothing, and just her eyes rolled into her head. And I try to get her rolled over. I get her rolled over, and her eyes are just like gone into her head, and she's just foam coming out of her mouth, and she's shaking and all this stuff. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And it's not like in the movies. You think you're going to be Joe Cool, and you think you're going to be like the guys in the beaches of Normandy, like, oh, well, there's just krauts up ahead. Let's go get them, fellas. Now, when somebody that you love falls down and gets afflicted with something, it's traumatic. So I called 911, and the dispatchers here in Cleveland, had to call them 3 times over the last 5 months. She's had these seizures 3 different times over the last 5 months, and each time they've been amazing. So I tell you the story about the reaction I had when my wife was having these seizures. Is I just don't know if I could take inbound calls from a 911 person who was frantic like I was. I was pretty frantic. Like this, the last time it happened, the very last time back in May, it was really bad. And I don't know, it's horrifying. So if you're getting calls from somebody that's like in this state of panic and fear and horror, I don't know if I could take calls like that. Maybe I should apply and see if they'll take me. I don't know. I don't know if I could handle it, but I bet you'd have job security. I don't think they can afford to lay off 911 dispatchers. I don't know.
The regional police service calling. Your phone is dialed into 911. If you're having an emergency, call back on 911. Call for service has been generated to check on your well-being if you don't have an emergency. So anyone in the public who dials 911 is going to come in to this call center, whether they need police, fire, or ambulance. And then anyone who needs help from the police, specifically who calls on a non-emergency line, is going to come in through this comm center.
Look at all those screens. He's got a whole wall of screens there. Look at that. Walls of screens. There's got to be 3 different screens, vertical screens. You got maps, locations, probably addresses, everything. Crazy shit, man. That's a lot of junk.
Who calls on a non-emergency line is going to come in through this comm center as well.
Look at that board. We used to have a board like that. Have a board like call center that would beep every time there were like 6 calls holding. It would go beep, beep, beep. And the general manager come running out on the floor and say, get on your phones. There's 10 calls holding or 6 calls holding. This is 1994. It was, you'd go home at night, you hear being sound in your sleep. It was so annoying.
So communicators here are kind of like the first point of contact for an emergency, in a way making them the first responders.
And he's walking beside the rail tracks. And do you say there as a fire starter or no?
Yeah, don't these guys just look too young and too clean and too polished to be working in a call center? I'm the dispatchers I've talked to, all the dispatchers I've ever talked to here in Cleveland, the 3 times in my life I've called 911, they've been women. I've never heard of men. Well, I've called 911 a couple times, in a couple of drunk drivers. Over the years, it's always women. I don't know how many good-looking guys with nicely coiffed hair they have.
So you did see flames popping up. That's why you think she's trying to start a fire or to fire. Okay. So everyone is a communicator, but then under that title, there's call taker and dispatcher. So the call taker is the one who's the first point of contact, who's actually on the phones, speaking to people who call into 911 or call into dispatch. And then the dispatcher role is when you're on the radio with the officers, getting them out to respond to the calls.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they had two different types of people. Maybe they do it differently in Canada. But people will call you back too, and it never sounds like the same person that calls you back is the same person that you spoke with initially.
So everyone is a communicator, but you're either a call taker or a dispatcher, depending on the day and your training level.
Headquarters South 71 Delta. Are you 10-4 on your stop? 10-4.
I mean, look at her. She's beautiful. You never see women like this in a call center. They're all like, have you seen my Marlboros? I'm down to smoking old butts out of the ashtray. Give me a ham sandwich, will you, Pete? I can't get up. My legs are swollen with gout. You know, you never see beautiful women like this in a call center. I don't know. I don't know if these are real dispatch people. One reason I think this, they could very well be, but this, I think they have to be careful of their security and their safety, because if you call into 911 and you're harassing somebody, you're a lunatic, and you know what they look like, you could probably stalk them and find out who they are. I would think somebody's going to come after them. Let's bring up our gorgeous 911 person here again.
I prefer dispatching.
Echo, and her name is Echo. Oh, Echo, my God. I'm in love. Look at her. She's got beautiful teeth, great hair, wonderful eyes. Her collar's a little bit messed up there. Echo, the dispatcher. Hi, can I speak to Echo, please? I think I'm having chest pains. Echo, you provide, give me CPR.
A more dynamic job, I would say. There's
Oh, Echo, you're killing me. Oh, look at that smile. I bet her smile is as bright as the sun.
a lot of multitasking and a lot of
I'm moving to Canada right now, eh? I'm calling 911. Honey, I'm having chest pains. No, I think you're breaking my heart.
things being thrown at you at once. It's just, I would say it's slightly more challenging, but in a different way. You have to be on your toes, paying attention constantly. You can't be distracted because if you're looking somewhere else, you can miss a hot call on your screen and it can sit there for a couple minutes. And
she's got her cell phone out. You're looking someplace else. What are you looking at? X-Hamster there, honey? Looking someplace else while somebody's calling in on 911, that would get you fired right away, I would think. Look at those screens. How many systems do these poor people have to know? Good Lord. The training better be longer than 2 weeks in a 911 call center.
those couple minutes are key to getting people life-saving help or catching the subjects in it, so we can actually get them arrested. So quicker the response, the better.
The quicker the response, the better. It's like AC on the Cleveland Cavaliers play-by-play team on the TV said, the whole point of the game is to go down the floor and score 1, 2, or 3 points.
Units heading to the 933 complainants calling about their roommate.
I've noticed that most dispatchers do sound like they're talking like they're robots. Except this last lady, when I called for my wife, she was so nice. Oh my God, she was so good with me.
He texted a complainant saying he was abducted. He's having panic attacks and they're putting his stuff in the car to drop him off at the side of the road. So I originally went to college for graphic design.
I haven't watched this all the way through. Oh, hon, I'm so sorry. We're there with you, all of us artists. Yeah, you go to school to study graphic design and art, and you end up a police dispatcher. What direction was he headed in? We've got somebody out there now.
I did that. It was a 2-year program, and I got certifications with APCO for fire, police, and medical dispatch. And then I worked in security for a bit, and then came here.
Okay. Do you have him with you?
Mhm.
Okay. Are you going to be able to keep him there, do you think?
Come.
Okay.
All right.
And he's not injured at all? Okay. The most rewarding aspect of the job for me is when you get to respond to someone's crisis on the phone, and the rare instance where you get to have a positive outcome for them because of...
Yeah, this is Canada, because he says, outcome, eh? How's it going, eh? Want some backpack in, eh?
an action that you took. So Sometimes that's just calming someone down on the phone before police or ambulance response. Or sometimes that's when you feel like you did a good job. You got the information you needed for the officers to respond and they make an arrest, for example, for something like that. That's for me the most rewarding, is when you get to see that what you did had a positive impact on someone.
Yeah, so it was a black pickup truck. Did you get the make, model, or marker?
All these guys are good looking. What is this? Hey, you can only work at our call center if you're good looking. And 25.
End of the day, we are dealing with people's lives, so it can be very stressful.
You know, she sits there every day of her life taking calls from people who are going through these horrible crises. And she's like, if only I'd stayed a graphic designer. If only I was at home painting right now and working on font. Oh my God, help me, please, Jesus.
Especially dispatching, you have a higher focus on officer safety as well as the safety of the public. You just always want their location in their location.
And she has the cutest little underbite, doesn't she?
And status bar to reflect where they actually are. Again, just in case they are in a dangerous situation and need help. You want to know where they are. You don't have time to read through your call.
I gotta go to Waterloo and work here, man. I'm too old and ugly to work with these people. These are some nice looking people.
And say, oh, right, she was supposed to be going here. So this is where I should send help. A lot of the job is planning, but at every few minutes, your plans have to change and you have to constantly adapt to the different things that are taking place.
Oh, yeah. You'd probably have to be on your toes, man. Probably be dealing with murder. You're dealing with rape, abuse. You're probably dealing with car crashes and fires and lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my.
You could have a plan for every call on your screen, but then you have one incident that takes a bunch of your resources away. And
they can be very in progress emergency calls from people who need help like right now. And that can be stressful, but within the training period, you begin to realize that there's definitely a form that all calls will take, and your response to all the calls is more or less the same. So you sort of start to learn not to let the caller's stress impact you.
So you're kind of improved your relationship with your own nervous system.
You do, and
Wow, that's really a good point, man. Because like I said before, like when I called in, I was really upset when my wife, these 3 times I called for my wife, you're on the, it feels like you're losing your mind because there's your wife on the floor and you have no idea what's going on with her, and you're trying to tell somebody over the phone what's going on. And I can't even imagine if I was receiving that call from a hysterical person whose spouse is dying or appears to be ill or something, how you're going to handle that. You've got to really detach. I'd imagine my training in call center work for 20 years would help me. Maybe I should work at this. Should apply to the Cleveland Dispatch Center.
I think that's one of the more interesting parts of this particular job is this self-development and self-knowledge aspect.
Yeah, I would think you've really got to know yourself well as a person before you can take this job. And see, this job would suck. This is how this job would suck. If this is a traditional call center, as I think they all are, even police dispatch 911 call centers, it's bad enough you've got people screaming at you that they're dying, that their friends are dying, they've been in a car crash, the house is burning down, the rabbits exploded, whatever's happened. It would be horrible, even worse, if your boss is a cock and a dick and a bitch and a hard C. You know, wouldn't that suck if like, Pete, can I speak to you for a second over my desk? I'm sorry, you didn't show enough empathy to that man that was bleeding to death on the railroad tracks after his car got hit by an Amtrak train. We're going to have to write you up, Pete. You know, I'm sure this goes on. You know darn well these poor people get treated like garbage after all the crap they got to go through with these calls, with these poor people that they've got to deal with that are going through trauma. Big time trauma. 911 dispatcher. City of East Cleveland. City of East Cleveland is not a place you want to be a police officer, and I don't even know about wanting to be in the 911 dispatch center because that is the heart of where the crime is. in Cleveland. That's part of it. Now $17 an hour full time. City of East Cleveland. Let's see here. Do you have a valid driver's license? Why would I need a driver's license to be a 911 dispatcher? Skills. Do you have typing? Yes. Education, high school. I got a GED. Got my GED. Language. I do speak it English pretty good. Pay from $17 an hour, 8-hour shift, weekends as needed, night shift. Location, East Cleveland. You get dental insurance, employee assistance program, health, life, paid time off, retirement plan, vision, full job description. We're looking for a reliable dispatcher to act as communication point for emergency and non-emergency calls. You will receive requests, transmit messages, and track vehicles. The ideal candidate must be primarily an excellent communicator and be able to remain calm and composed. You must be able to multitask. Responsibilities: receive emergency, non-emergency calls, address problems, receive and dispatch orders for products and deliveries, prioritize calls, use radio, phone, or computer to send crews, monitor routes, so on and so forth. Proven experience as dispatcher, relevant position, tech savvy with knowledge of relevant methods, fast typing, knowledge of procedures. $17 an hour. How much? $17 an hour times 40 hours a week. That's $680 a week times 52 weeks. $35,360. That's barely enough money to live in East Cleveland. You could probably get by living in East Cleveland, which it's just like a war zone in East Cleveland. It's terrible. That's all they're going to pay you. Let's look at another one here. 911 emergency dispatcher, Lorain County Board of Commissioners, $28 an hour. New dispatchers starting pay $58,000 with increase at 6 months end of year. Starting rate of up to 64. Maybe I should try this, man. I may find me a new place to apply for without a college degree. I may have found a new place to apply for a job. Lorain County dispatcher. 911. Do you want police or fire? What's your emergency? Let me practice. 911, Lorain County Police Dispatch. This is Pete. May I have location of your emergency or your fire? Did your cat explode? You know, that kind of thing. So that's that. And I think it's pretty interesting because, number one, I think the turnover in these dispatch centers is huge. Number two, I know the turnover here in the Cleveland police force, they're understaffed by like 100 to 150 officers. One guy just got shot and killed. Nobody wants to be a police officer anymore. People are losing their minds these days. I can imagine these calls you must get are nonstop crazy. Crazy people. You get people to call in. I used to listen to the police scanner. The dispatcher would be on the radio with the cops saying, yeah, this is a repeat call. This is a guy that's always calling in at this address saying there's Martians in his backyard and stuff. You get the wackos like that. Yes, I said wackos. I don't know what kind of training they go through. So for Lorain County, new dispatcher starting pay at $58,000, increases 6 months up to 3 weeks paid vacation, health, shift differential, new state-of-the-art facility and workstations. What training do you go through, though? I'm going to apply for this. I'm serious. What the hell? I've had people call me a pickle sucker and all kind of racial things and called me a cracker pickle sucker. Maybe I'm ready for this. Maybe this was my calling, was to be a 911 dispatcher. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you like this channel, if you like what I do here, you like and subscribe it there, will you? And tell your friends about it. That's the 911 dispatch call center up there near Toronto, Canada, inside of Waterloo.